Good evening. Welcome to the October 17th meeting of the Weare Board of Selectmen. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comment.
Thank you, Frank Campana. I was here at your last meeting, and I asked the board to think about radio things. You know, the issue with communications has been brought forth by you, Rick, and another individual, and to think of anything related to communications is, you know, what the board, if they consider it equipment. I'll preface, I'm glad I didn't have to go back too far. Back in 2018, Article 7, I did reference it that night, but this is the gospel here. To change the Fire Department Special Revenue Fund to include let me see, to include larger equipment purchases, so, to include larger equipment purchases, such as thermal imaging cameras, jaws of life units, and air packs, et cetera, et cetera. So as I asked the question, you know, which I hope, you know, within the week's time, the board has come up with, you know, a response. And I'd like each person individually, do you think anything involved with communications, and for my limited, you know, limitations, something like radios, towers, I remember hearing voter sites, I don't remember exactly what those are, but things along that line, it's certainly related to communications. So if each member could tell me, do you consider things that are related to communications equipment?
No.
No. Okay.
See, I guess I would, Frank, if there weren't already, like, there's a police communications account, and there's also a
That's
fire
not my question.
communications. Well, it is in a way. I'm answering it the way I feel. We do have a fire communications account set up for communications and one for police, so I would believe that that's not what was to be included in there.
That wasn't my question. Okay. Rick?
You know, I knew that's where your last week, that's what you were talking about.
Yes.
Because the radio system is shared by 3 different, you know, departments in this town, I would say no.
Okay.
I would say the same thing, too, because of the 3 different departments using it. I also think that what we should be looking at, because I think it's going to be pretty expensive to fix this whole system, I think we should be putting some money aside here, you know, whether it's just this year or this year and part of next year, something, so we don't get whammed with a big amount of money, because we know it's going to cost quite a lot to fix that.
I thought my question was pretty simple. Do you consider things related to communications equipment?
I think
guess
it's
it would've
equipment,
been-
but I think what you're trying to do is you want us to, you know, you're looking to have us say that it's, should fall under what they have for equipment stuff already, and I don't really think that's...
Okay. Yeah.
Yes and no. When you look at communications equipment, that would be portable radios, mobile sets, station sets. Yes, that's equipment.
Okay.
To go around and do the sites, no. And to come out of that special revenue fund, we don't have any authority over that. That belongs to the fire department, and it's how they expend it is up to them, and then they come forward to us with it. So, as far as that goes, no. And we, like I said, we can't use any of that money, and we can't just grab that money. That belongs to the fire department, and that has to go to the Board of Fire Wards. If they want to use it to help the communications, that's on them, not on us.
Well, I understand, and you can stop me when you want to stop me. I know the select board has washed their hands of the fire department you know, all money-related items, except probably the budget, I guess, I don't know. But I hear what you say, all right? But anytime an issue with communications has come up in response to 3 different departments, is it only one department that the communications is an issue?
No.
All three,
How many departments is it an issue with?
3.
all
3
three,
departments, there you go,
all
all
three.
right?
And they all.
And they all have their own line item for those, for communications
Exactly.
equipment and so forth.
But the issue is that there's a problem,
Right.
and you're indicating that it's gonna be a large dollar amount
Right.
repair or fix, maybe.
Possibly. We don't know.
I think so, but,
It's gonna be a dollar amount to fix
There's
it.
gonna be a dollar amount. No matter what you
Right.
do, there's a dollar amount.
I get that, I get that. So, to say that, you know, this special revenue fund, all right, is not up for grabs, let me say, all right? And I don't care what the selectmen may think, that, you know, that, well, it's the fire department's, you know, fund, all right?
Legally, it
But-
is.
But the fire department has problems with the communications, the police department, and the highway department.
right.
All right, all 3. Well, there's a fund, there is that fund that's generating revenue that could be taken, at least a portion of it, to offset hopefully a solution, maybe not a final solution. All right? I personally consider, you know, a radio, you know, communications. I mean, I guess somewhere along the lines, I've heard the word communication equipment. All right? When you say no, you don't consider it equipment. All right? Well, I'll tell you, you know, a brand-new fire truck or a brand-new
Ambulance.
police, a brand-new fire car, all right? These things have chrome wheels, all right? Brand-new police cars, brand-new highway trucks. What good are they if there's a breakdown in communication or lack of communications? Communications is a primary. Would you, and I don't care if you shake your heads yes or no, but I would consider a fire truck, you send a fire truck somewhere, and if they can't communicate, what good is it? Chrome wheels isn't gonna make it any better, all right? A flashy police car isn't gonna make it better, and a 10-wheel dump truck isn't gonna make it any better if they can't communicate.
I agree.
All right? So, equipment. And that fund, all right, is, you know, should be made available. And I know the selectmen won't do it because you like, the you know, you want to
We
watch
can't.
it.
But
We
are
can't
gonna do
legally.
it. We cannot do it.
Legally,
It has
we
to be
cannot.
s-
You
it
know,
has
you
to
should
be-
maybe address the question to the Board of Fire Wards, Frank, and then go down there and speak to them. And if they want to release money like that out of that fund, they can. They have the authority to do that.
Well, I think it's up to the board. If you want to do what's best for the taxpayers, I think it's up to the board to approach the board, the select board, to approach the Board of Fire Wards and say, hey, look, we have a common problem, and now, because of 2018, all right, there is money possibly available to help
If
offset.
they want to do it, it's up to them.
Right,
It's not
okay.
up to us.
Okay. Right, just like everything else they do is up to them and not up to the board. You've washed your hands and let them
No,
have-
we didn't wash our hands. Our hands are tied by the law.
But this here, Jack, it says that that fund was changed.
And-
So it should, to me, it should be up to the Board of Selectmen to approach the Board of Fire Wards and say, we have a common problem with
They know we
communication.
have a common problem, and they know, and there's a committee that, between them and they're having the state of New Hampshire work at it. They've got people from the state looking at it and coming up with facts and figures, so we know where to go. But to turn around and just say to go down and grab that money, no. We
I
don't have
didn't
the
say go
authority.
down and grab it.
Well,
I said it's available.
it's available.
It's
but-
available.
And it's up to them whether or not they want to expend it on anything like that. It's up to them, not us.
So as a taxpayers, if it's $150,000 to put money aside, that's kind of, you know, well over $100,000, to put money aside, so you're telling me as a taxpayer to put that money into, through for the selectmen, put that money into a kitty to save, all right? Well, and I agree with you, you know, spend it in the year that it's appropriated, if it's appropriated, all right? And it still frees up the fire department to have that money at their disposal for whatever they want to use it for. So they're getting the benefit of that fund, that special revenue fund, to spend the way they want to do it, as you say, all right? But the illness is put on me and every other taxpayer to fund their portion of the communications when they have money available.
It also.
It's all
that-
three departments.
That fund also turns around and helps that fire department be self-sufficient without coming to the taxpayers for certain things.
I understand that.
So, in other words, if we
Understand
do that, if, for instance, if we do that, then it's gonna come back and hit you in the pocketbook a lot harder, because now you're gonna pay for a lot more things that you weren't paying for before.
Well, I've heard you say that, but and I'll just leave you with
And,
this
or
here.
either that, you wanna put a warrant article in for a $500,000 fire truck when they need one in another couple of years, because they don't have the money in that fund to pay for it. So then what happens is you're gonna get up there, and you're gonna say the same thing, it's my tax dollar, and I don't think we need chrome wheels and we don't need this, but, you know, it comes to a life safety issue, and it wasn't coming out of your pocket, it comes out of the billing from the ambulance and the ambulance service. So,
I understand.
you know, it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. I know you don't like savings accounts, but that's not a savings account that's coming out of taxpayer funds.
Correct, I said, but if you
But you
remember.
want to take it and use it that, in a different way, so it cleans that fund out, and if we have to take the majority of it for a communication system.
First of all,
then-
I didn't say majority, I said a
Okay.
portion.
Okay, okay.
So, and I understand what you're saying, all right? But my first statement back on the 21st, all right, I left a little bit of wiggle room and said, you know, let's use a fire truck for the example, all right? They sit in a climate-controlled environment consistently, all right, consistently.
Yeah, they have to.
So I understand. So you can't tell me that, you're trying to tell me that if you put a priority on communications, that you couldn't, that I'm saying you, fire department, you know, couldn't delay the purchase of a fire truck for 1 year and put that money, what do they get, better than $120,000 a year in revenue? That they couldn't say, okay, well, let's take this year for revenue, you know, we'll take 120,000 out of the special revenue fund, we'll delay buying the fire truck that stays in a climate-controlled atmosphere consistently, we'll delay that purchase for a year, so now we've regained that $120,000.
But that's up to them.
All right, we're done with debate, we're done with
Okay,
debate.
all right, thanks, I appreciate that, I knew I was getting into that, so, okay, and I thank you.
Okay. Brenda, with a update on the library trustee discussion regarding bill for crosswalk.
Yes. This has kind of been an ongoing issue. Way back in January, I think it was, one of the residents of Weare asked one of the library trustees if a crosswalk could be put between the school and the library. And we told the resident that, you know, it was not our responsibility, that we have nothing to do with roads in this town, but that we would forward it on to the appropriate department. We forwarded it on to Benji. But like I said, we don't know anything about roads, regulations, painting, whatever. Well, next thing you know, there's a bill for $800 for signs and it got sent to us because we're the one who brought it to Benji's attention. Well, all along, our issue has been that this has nothing to do with the library. So we had Naomi forward it over to the school board. And within the last month, they did pay half of it, but that leaves a remaining balance of $409. We feel, the trustees feel, that it's a town issue. It has nothing to do with the library. We were being good citizens, and basically, we've gotten punished for being a good citizen, for bringing it to the attention that, I mean, obviously, next time we'll know. If a resident of Weare tells us, you know, my children are not safe crossing a road or whatever, I'm definitely going to don't tell us, go to the town or go to Benji or go to somebody, because we don't ever want this to happen again, because we don't know anything about it. And that's what I'm here for tonight, is to see if maybe there's a general fund or something that can pay this $409, because, like I said, it's a town issue. It has nothing to do with the library.
I guess, I mean, I don't 100% disagree that it's a town issue. I guess I would want to see the emails myself, to see what the, you know, I'm not, unless you have them.
No, I don't.
Okay.
We've just put it in the trustee minutes as that we forwarded this on to the highway department.
Yeah, and I don't, like I said, and I don't know where it got, if it was a miscommunication, that it was a request type thing from the library, or if it was, again, I don't know where the communication broke down, but it sounds like it was a communication failure somewhere along the way, from citizen to paint on the ground. And I think that the school board ponying up half is good, because obviously it involves children leaving the school grounds, going on, you know. But again, that's just my own take on it.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't seen
mean,
anything.
I don't know if there's any emails, but it's just kind of been conversations, and it's gone back and forth. We just kind of brought it to Benji's attention, and next thing you know, there's cost involved. I mean, it's done, and there's cost involved, and
How many-
no one even told us that there's, well, you know, obviously they
Right.
wouldn't tell us because we don't know anything about roads.
Yeah, because there was, the cost that's involved is the signs, the paint and the,
We
doing
had-
the
we had
paint
that,
and
right?
that, we already
Yeah,
had.
Benji already had the paint,
It's a
and
signage you gotta
somebody
put up.
from
So
his
it's the sign
department, yeah.
because the.
The state requires.
State requires.
State
Yeah, the
requires
state
that for the-
requires the,
And we didn't know, I mean, like I said, we don't deal with that, so we didn't know that there was a cost.
Right. Now, how many kids, average, we'll say, come to the library daily from the school?
A lot.
A lot?
Quite a few, yeah.
Okay.
And the parent brought it to our attention because they said it was a safety issue, you know, they didn't want
Yeah.
the kids getting hit by
Right.
cars. And, you know, we said, okay, that's, you know, that's valid, but we told them, it's not our purview, but we'll bring it over to Benji.
Right.
And that's kind of what happened.
It's a liability for the town.
If
That's from it, that's the thing.
If we were to pay
It's a
something,
liability.
where would it come from? That'd be my only question.
just,
Because we don't really have a line item for it, and
You could
Benji only
you could-
appropriates so much
he
for
only has
his.
$1,200 to do all the signs.
Yeah, and that's with theft, damage, and otherwise.
Right.
Stop signs, speed signs, yeah.
Right. Road names, et
If you
cetera.
overrun that, I don't know.
Yeah,
It would be a one-time overrun. and-
right. It'd be a one-time.
I still don't think
overrun.
$1,200 is enough to do what we do anyway.
Oh, absolutely not, no. No, I don't, I agree.
I mean, that's really the only legitimate place you have signs.
Yeah,
You have a sign line in the highway department. It's not a building maintenance, that's what
No.
we have.
no,
Not lawn care. It's the only legitimate place I can think of,
will be from Benji's sign line.
yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you wanna put it under the selectmen's for miscellaneous, but
Yeah.
with a.
I mean, it
you
is,
know,
it is a sign, and now that it's up, it's gonna be maintained, I would assume, by, if it gets defaced or gets
Damaged.
smashed, we're gonna end up putting it back up.
I'm almost thinking it might have to, I've been by there, might have to come down for the winter, or else you're gonna be buying $800 more worth of signs.
Yeah, I would
Oh,
think
boy.
it'd have to come
I
down,
think it's
yeah,
gonna come
'cause
down in the winter.
they're little
Just-
signs from
They're
what I can
just
see.
the little fluorescent ones, serve its purpose, and it says crosswalk, but when they start plowing and winging it back, it is.
They're not on a post, they're not,
I don't know what they're on,
I
I just drove by
don't
it.
think so. I mean, the times I've driven by,
Yeah,
I've
those
only
little-
seen those little things
Yeah,
that,
Sandwich,
at it.
the
Hold up.
sandwich things?
I don't think-
yeah, that's what I've seen.
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, I just
They're
think,
more
and
expensive than
I
the steel
believe, yeah, I believe he'll take them down just out of, you know, it's $817 just
Right,
for
don't wanna wreck
signs.
them.
Right. What's the board think? I have only one voice.
I think we're gonna have to pay for it one way or another. I think we're.
Comes out of the bottom line, it's just
Yeah,
where do you wanna put it?
I think it's a liability for the town not to do something. If some kid gets hit,
I mean, yeah, right, I mean,
it's a liability. If it
Yeah, and
saves a kid from
and-
getting hurt, I think it should be done.
And that was Benji's thing, was that I guess the state requires, and like I said, I don't really, I might misquote him, but it was something that they need to put the signs out for so long to get people used to the idea that this is out here now, and there was all that was involved.
Yeah,
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 Yeah, there's certain requirements under
right.
yeah.
I mean, right now, there's $1,300.
the federal and state law.
Yeah.
I would say.
I guess we'll have to look at
You
it.
could do it, you could create a one-time expense like we do,
Right,
with 0, 0, and then spend the other half
right.
under the selectmen's. I just don't, I know that's Benji's got the only signs, but if you do a one-time expense, then you don't rebudget it next year. And then it doesn't inflate the sign line to budget more money.
Right, right. What's the board want to do?
I don't think the library should have to pay for it.
Okay.
No, it definitely ought to come out of some budget on our behalf.
Right.
Yeah.
However we take care of it.
Right. So I guess I'll entertain a motion if there is one.
I think what Naomi said about making a one-time thing, one-time expense, and paying for it, and
Well, you don't ever rebudget your one-time expenses.
Right.
Okay, so for $409.
for
So I think
$409.
it's 408.96.
Well, exactly.
Oh,
408.96.
I'll second it.
All right, moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions?
I'm abstaining.
Thank you so much, we really do appreciate
Um,
it.
We're gonna be over there checking it out,
I
and we'll
think-
walk there too.
I think moving, because this, and again, I didn't vote, but I'm gonna say no on this one.
So
My
it's
my vote's gonna be
3,
no.
3 to
Yeah, 3-1-1.
1.
Yeah. I think moving forward, I think there needs to be a little better communication lines between the library
Yeah, I
and
think
us.
she's got the right point, just give it to that department.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. This won't happen again, because from now on, if a resident comes and says
Right.
something, it goes to the right department.
Right.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
Well,
we're-
maybe what should happen though, really, is that you should just direct them here to the selectmen.
Or right
to
to Naomi.
Naomi.
Right to Naomi.
And you know what it was? I think the resident felt comfortable coming to the trustee because they're neighbors.
Oh.
And so it was a matter of that. You're my neighbor. I feel more comfortable talking to you than going to
One-on-one.
the selectmen.
Yeah.
So they told him, he told us, we asked Benji, so.
But it puts a lot of hands in the pot.
Yeah.
You know, and
And
you know,
Miscommunication.
here we are just finding out about it now that we put signs up on town road. And you know, again, water under the bridge, we put a well pump in as well, needed, don't get me wrong, but you know, we found out after somebody had already been contacted. We found out that we were gonna get stuck with a bill after somebody had already been contacted. And we, of course, we have the purchasing policy for the town. And again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have put the well in or the pump in. I'm just thinking that a communication line could improve a little bit. You know, and I'm not saying one way, both ways. We had this meeting with the Board of Fire Wards once upon a time, where, you know, we figured out where the lines in the sand were. Responsibilities of the Board of Fire Wards, responsibilities of selectmen when it came to actual fire department daily activities. And it might not hurt to have some kind of a meeting between the trustees and the Board of Selectmen in like a work session and figure out where everything's supposed to be. You know, I mean, if the door's falling off the front of the library, is that something that comes out of the government buildings fund, or is it something the trustees pick up? I don't know. It's just an example, you know. Or if we got to put a lock set in there or something like that. Is that where it's a town building, is that something we pick up, or is that something the trustees pick up?
No,
So-
you've got a very valid point. Because someone earlier, well, I'm gonna say in the last month, at a meeting I attended, told me that something that we had paid for, they said, you know, they did chastise me.
Yep.
And it's like, they said, you know, you shouldn't have paid for such and such, that's the town's responsibility. And I'm like,
Right.
why was it, they didn't explain it adequately to me, but I think you're absolutely right, because, you know, we think we're supposed to be paying for things inside the building, and that the town's supposed to be taking care of things outside the building, but this person who was explaining things to me said that's not always the case, so
Right.
I was completely at a loss for things.
Right.
And, but something like this, we definitely will not be doing this again.
Yeah, and like I said, it's water under the bridge at the point. Obviously, it needed to happen. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's, you know, again, the well needed to be done. The crosswalk needed to be put in for obvious reasons.
Safety issue.
It's just again, it's the communication line.
And we're definitely gonna improve on that after listening to you and hearing things, but yeah, communications will improve tremendously, yes.
So, all right, perfect.
But we thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
I have to recuse myself. Jack, you're up.
The next thing on the agenda is a stone wall removal for a driveway entrance at 278 Quaker Street for Mr. Frederick Hitler.
Hi, Ward. So, yes, as Vice Chairman Meany said, what my intention is to remove approximately 15 feet of stone wall. And the dirt that's behind that, as you can see in the maps, kind of the dotted drawing. I own antique tractor trailer units, and this is to improve the swing to get into my driveway. Once I get in the driveway, I should be able to turn around out back, but it's getting off of Quaker Street is the issue. So I don't believe the stone wall that's there existing right now, that 15 feet, is from original boundary line. I think it's a retaining wall that was built there's a big tree, there's the birch tree on the picture, then the stone wall, then there's a larger tree on the corner. From the larger tree on the corner to my neighbor is original stone wall, and from my driveway to the other neighbor is definitely original stone wall, and I don't plan on touching either of those. So, just looking for the approval to remove that wall.
I can also add that this was brought before the planning board last week, and it was approved. Does anybody want to make a motion?
I move that we allow Mr. Hippler to remove the 15 feet of stone wall, to go along with the rest of what you had showed us earlier, so.
Okay.
I move that we do that.
I'll second it.
And also, just to go for discussion, so it was brought up at the planning board, and just to keep it in line, and the rocks that you remove are gonna go where?
Either they'll go back up against, when I dig all that out, I'll use it as a retaining wall there. There's not that many of them, or I'll use them as fill out back.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes, abstentions?
I opposed.
I am the tiebreaker, so yes, I will go along. I'll go.
You have to abstain.
I was on the planning board for it, so I'll vote for it. It's okay. You got approved at the planning board. I got no problem with
You
it.
won't be denied.
But well, it's true. The voting majority. Thank you.
Yep. That looks like a B to me.
Ditch. Yeah, you're right.
Don't be chastising my artwork.
It wasn't that.
It's just spelling.
It's just
I said
spelling.
the
It
spelling.
looks like a
That's a
B
B.
instead of a D.
B-I-R, yes.
Yeah.
Birch.
Birch.
Oh. B-I-T. Thought it was a T instead of an I.
We got minutes today,
Just one set.
one set, and that was what, 923s?
Yes. And they're 7 pages long, so.
I haven't read them.
All right,
I
table
knew you
both.
wouldn't, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
table 'em.
I return the chair back to Mr. Hitler.
Thank you. Oh, wow, look at this. All right, manifest.
That's a little bit different, yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at it, I'm like, okay. Move to order treasurer to sign accounts payables checks dated October 17th as included in the following manifest. Aware School District payable manifest to $500,000. Following manifest were previously ordered to be signed at the October 7th, 2019 meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Excuse me, payroll manifest $56,060.80 for weekly payroll checks dated 10/17. Accounts payable manifest $20,304.93, checks dated 10/17. And a fire department accounts payable of $49,680.74, checks dated 10/17. Didn't the new Tahoe come in? And that's why the check's so large?
Yep.
Okay. The chief's car came in, that's why that accounts payable is as high as it is. As there is no selectmen's meeting scheduled for Monday, October 21st, 2019, further order treasurer to sign payroll checks dated October 24th, estimated to be about $60,000. Furthermore, to order treasurer to sign up to the amount of $75,000 for accounts payable, as well as check to the John Stark Regional School District of an amount of $250,000 that cannot wait until the next scheduled meeting of October 28th. Reports and actual check amounts will be reported to the Board of Selectmen by inclusion in the manifest memo at the said meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Oh, discussion.
Well, I just wanted to point out that there's a check in there for Mount William. There's no other checks, but there's a check in there for Mount William that hasn't been included. I don't know if there's a problem with it or just didn't get
Where's
mailed
the
out.
box? I'll have to.
Where was it?
It's
100,
within the
under
accounts
200.
payable checks. The check is still there.
Oh, it's not just the.
No, the check is just still there. I don't know if it wasn't mailed out or if there was a problem with it.
It's not in here. Main scale. It was Mount William, right?
Yeah.
Give it, Mr. G's.
I mean, we both.
Mount William.
Right there.
Yeah, the check's still here for $193.20.
I think it was just an oversight. I don't know. I'll ask her.
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Yep, I mean, I just wondered.
No, yeah, exactly. No, it's probably just oversight.
Okay.
All right, move seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Who said that?
I did.
I did.
I got everybody.
Whoever.
Aye, 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 aye.
We don't have signatures on everything in there. We have a question on one of the bond redisperse back to Cortland.
Okay, well,
Oh,
that was approved by the
that
planning
was
board.
approved by the planning board. He brought it in. and
The
it's-
engineer recommended that amount. It
Yep.
was approved by the planning board, so that money's sitting in a separate fund.
There's question of the,
We're still retaining 270
70.
some odd $1,000.
Mm.
And what he's done on his punch list has met what the engineer says, and he's entitled to get that back, so.
But I thought that there was a question brought up as to
the pavement.
the pavement.
Yeah, but he's still got other money in that bond.
There's still money there,
Oh,
but
that's, yeah.
There's more than enough.
do you know what they're supposed to be laying down for pavement down there? 2 inches?
What the
it
base
two?
is on that?
3-inch base, I thought.
Well, you might
We'll
know,
have to
I don't
check
know.
the,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
in the planning board office, but
The
it
only other thing I have
doesn't have a
is
finish
that
coat on it.
we've got that water's still been setting on that side of the road, and I think because probably prior to putting that road in, the water used to drain over into that
There's a
Yeah,
state,
low spot.
part of it's, and part of it's a state culvert that's supposed to handle some of that too, that I think.
I don't know where that is. I don't know where that
there
is.
one.
There's supposed to be one in there.
But where would it
Would have
dump?
to drain into
You'd have
the
to look.
It would-
pond across the road.
Yeah, it would have to go from that spot, basically kitty corner,
Yeah.
Orchard Hill and 114, and then dump in that
Somebody's
guy's yard.
Right, that's not
And
happening.
I think that's uphill personally.
I don't know.
I
but
think,
that's-
I think it used to drain the other way, is what I think.
I would
Well,
agree. And now all is a big mosquito breeding pond. And that was brought forward to us as a complaint before by the neighbor, and, we've obviously, we've all kind of watched it, and it hasn't gone anywhere.
It went down
Did the
some.
original plan address it?
I don't know.
I think,
We don't know.
they built that.
I don't think I ever saw the original plan.
I saw the original plans, and I didn't see anything
I
like it.
think they needed a culvert put in there to
But
go
they-
to the other side of the, to
but they
the
put-
other side of the driveway. and
But
it
they put
didn't-
the cistern in there.
But we have our engineer that's been up there watching this, so,
Well,
Doesn't mean
yeah,
that
but he-
it's right, I mean.
well,
But the engineer never saw that area
Yeah,
before
he-
an excavator
He's
bucket
there
went
after
in.
the fact, yeah.
Yeah, before the excavator bucket
That
went
water's
in.
always been there.
Not in this quantity
that
that's there now.
extent.
Yeah, there's.
Well, you put
a
the
lot.
road
I mean,
in
the
there
trees are all
probably
dying down there now. They're all, the pine needles
flooded
of
out.
pine are all
but
dead.
whether or not, I mean, that's still not a basis, for us
Well,
to,
we can sign this, but I just think
hold
that
the
there's a
rest-
couple
hold that
questions,
part
that
of
was
that.
all.
Yeah, but there's questions.
oh,
yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying at this point, he's entitled to that part back, and we could end up, in a hassle over it at some point. So, I mean, we've still got almost $300,000 sitting in that.
214 will stay in.
214.
Yeah, 200, I thought it was 200, 84, but
No,
okay.
214 staying in
Oh,
the
you got
account.
Over $200,000 in there. I believe he still has to do the top coat on the asphalt.
Yeah, I just want to make
finish
sure
coat.
that when we do that,
He's still got a lot of other
This is release 2.
punch lists.
Yeah, you've already released him some money.
Yep.
Actually goes
The
back
next
to-
release is the pavement, so we're gonna have to get a.
Next year. It's gonna
Right.
sit a winter.
Right, but, I
I
mean,
want to make sure the base is right and the top
Right.
coat will be right, so we don't have to think about the town having to pay for that
I think
10
that's
years.
why it sits a winter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
See if it holds
it'll
up.
actually sit
Has to sit a winter.
2 winters. I mean, they put it in late, well, almost 2
No, they
winters.
didn't, they couldn't do it last year because it was so wet.
yeah.
Put it
so it
in,
has to
they put
sit
it in
in
this
winter.
early spring, there's still snow at times on the ground.
So the pavement companies are gonna close shortly.
Do we check that, what the pavement thickness is?
The
Does somebody
engineer's right there.
after?
Somebody
it's-
out on site the entire time they
Yeah.
pave.
Yeah,
There
the
is-
And he
engineer
pays
is
for
there,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
The developer pays for the engineer to be out there on site all day,
the whole
Yeah.
time.
during the pavement
They get the
process.
tonnage.
But we never go back and check anything. We're taking the engineer's word for that.
He's our person,
We've hired by, I mean, we have him as our engineer.
Okay.
Keach and Nordstrom,
Used to be Northeast Engineering.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's the only thing we're missing signatures on is that bond release.
Okay.
I know we looked at it at the planning board the other night, and I could pass through.
Okay.
Oh.
Moving on.
I received an email from St. Jean Auctioneers regarding, the 7 properties.
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically, the budget and fee schedule for the 7. There's a dollar amount there, but as you remember, there's no fees charged to us.
Right.
So, that's where he advertises and what he does on his, he advertises it 4 different places. He mails colored brochures to all abutters. There's 7,500 people that signed up on his website, so it goes out to all of them too. Yeah, if you sign up with him, you get every auction notice in the world,
Yeah, no,
no matter what town, so.
well, whatever auction he's doing.
Right, but he does a lot of towns, so you
Yeah.
could
He does
have
a lot of
tax deeded
towns, plus
properties.
I'll see him this week.
Plus he
Oh,
does the
that's
state one.
I'll see him this
So
weekend.
he's looking
The same.
for, there's one line signature there for the fee structure agreement. So you'd have to make a motion to authorize the chair if you're going to.
I'll make a motion that the chairman, give the chairman the authority to sign the contract with James St. Jean Auctioneers for the property auction in November.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is that 5? 5?
I see them.
Okay, then Sherry, you probably can add to this, there was a permit to trap on, the conservation land, Melvin Valley Road off Bolton Field for Glenn Dubois. The chairman signed the conservation on their behalf. Typically, we both signed it because the town owns the land.
Second sheet.
So, it's a permit to trap, so somehow he's gotta squeeze his name over there.
Yeah.
He's done that for years out there.
Glenn's done it for, I want to say, as long as I've known him.
Yeah, I know, I remember that name every year.
He's,
Yeah.
well, he's a local boy. He lives in
Goffstown forever.
He lives in
Dunbar?
Dunbar
He was
now, but
Goffstown.
he was a Goffstown, retired as a Goffstown sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's big with the Fish and Game Club.
Yeah, I don't think last year he even set up.
Yeah.
He applied, but I don't think he took anything last year.
He might not.
No, I don't think you got anything.
He didn't get anything.
So you'd have to
I think he's-
authorize, you have to squeeze your signature in somewhere, but you'd have to
Yeah,
authorize.
guys, can I have a motion?
Make a motion that we authorize the chair to sign the trapping permit for Glenn Dubois to trap on, was it Melvin?
No, I'll sign it.
Melvin Valley Road.
Melvin Valley Road.
Off Bolton Field.
Off of Bolton Field.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Where the hell am I seeing?
Is that 5 as well?
Yep,
I don't-
I think
And then the
so.
last thing before I get into either one of the sheets of paper is I received a letter from the trustees of the trust fund And the trustees of the trust fund no longer have an alternate because Tom McCarthy resigned. They have asked Tom Clow to be an alternate for the trustees of the trust fund. And the last time we did this, they recommended to us and we appointed him as an alternate, just like we did Tom. Because there are sometimes they can't conduct business without an alternate. They are 3 elected officials, but they can have an alternate as well. So Tom, they'd like to propose that Tom be the alternate to the trustees of the trust fund. That's their recommendation.
Yeah, one question, wouldn't be any conflict where he sits on the finance committee and sits.
It's real estate for everybody.
Is there any conflict there with him?
One person,
Yeah.
one person doesn't really,
I know, but I'm just asking if
I can't imagine there's a conflict.
in case it gets asked, that's.
Well, if you want to make it pending an answer from Laura, but I can't imagine. Yeah.
I think make it pending. I just don't want
Yeah.
to see conflict.
I just don't wanna see anything, somebody.
Well-
Yeah, I think he'd be a great addition. I just wanna
I
make
think,
sure
I
it's-
think so too, but I just don't want somebody to raise.
Yeah, we're gonna have Laura just check for conflict of interest on that.
Oh, okay.
So,
So was there a motion made, or was it consensus?
I'll move that we
Check
accept
council.
accept the letter from the trustees of trust funds to add Tom Clow as an alternate to the trustees of trust funds pending legal review. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, I think he'd be a great addition,
I think he'd be an excellent addition.
just don't want anybody to raise an issue that.
Did you sign it? Which road supervisor signed on that one?
All right, so
And I can go back, Naomi.
Oh, we can all sign on that?
That one you can all sign.
Okay.
I'll take your manifest too.
Because I saw the,
Yeah, I didn't think there was,
I
that's why I
s-
never
I didn't
looked
think so,
at.
well, the Conservation Commission had it, so. Yeah, they signed this, I was looking at the other.
That's what he read. That's the manifest.
Give that to her too. It's all that amount of stuff.
All right, so we'll do the short list first.
Oh, good.
That's the government building ones. Because really nothing's changed.
No.
Too cold to do much. Actually, nothing has changed. I haven't, Tom Miller still promised me he's working on prices. I think it's too cold, that's my personal opinion about the quotes. We can get quotes still, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I think
No,
it's too
no,
cold.
Too
no
late in the
work. It's too
season.
late in the
Right,
season
yeah,
to work
right.
And
on.
there's really
Done.
there's no sense of getting quotes now, because they're not gonna hold them for 6 to 8 months anyway.
They do, it's a rarity, usually
Yeah,
it's.
but we need to know what to
60.
go forward with, so what are we gonna know?
Right.
We need some numbers to go forward with, so we need quotes.
Exactly.
We gotta get the quotes.
You can give us.
Yeah, I can give him the quotes with the understanding that it would
Yeah.
have to be done in the spring.
Even if he says, you know, my recommendation would be put 5% on it,
Yeah,
you know, here's today's
which is
number,
what we
but,
did with the bell tower.
correct.
Yeah.
You know, at least we have a number to go to,
Yeah.
warrant with.
Yeah, and I've got 3 people that are interested, more for the spring anyway, because most everybody's trying to button up what they're doing now. Um, I see number 6, I forgot to add the camera. That was for the cameras.
Number 6,
It has town
project
office.
price, town warrant.
It's town office cameras. We talked about Ring, we've talked about, Jack's got a different app, there's a bunch of different apps
Yeah.
through Homeland Security, and that's a year-round grant. When there's money, I should say.
Gazebo warranty, do we have any word on that?
I haven't had a chance to call them, it's on my list.
Okay.
I got a question on number 11.
Yes, sir.
If we're having our building inspector do that, why do we need to budget anything for it? He's getting paid anyway.
I don't think we were gonna budget anything, were we?
No.
No.
Be discussed in the fall so it can be budgeted.
Right, but then I think when we added Kyle to oversee it, I think,
That went away.
I believe that was the intent to go away. It didn't go
Yeah.
away, it's still there.
I was gonna say, so
Yeah,
that one's gonna disappear.
We can take it off, yeah, I just, like I said, I just wanna make sure that we're covered, that's all.
Right.
Yeah,
And there is one other thing that's come, as you know, the front door has become an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's usually the talk of the town, so. I got one price, but it's almost $5,000
For what?
For what?
Lock.
to, not a new lock.
Oh.
We're gonna get rid of the boat anchor that's on the door. And it's gonna bring it up to a little bit, what I asked for is because I don't know how many people have keys to this building. People come and go. People have keys. I try to keep keys. People leave. I try to change the locks, so. I want to do something simple, and something that you can change without standing out in that front door, plugging into a laptop and let people go in and out while you're trying to code the door. So, there is a fob. I think the state uses the fob.
Yeah, they use a card. It
They
looks
use
like
a
a,
card.
looks like a.
Swipe, you swipe
Well,
it.
this is a
No,
fob
you
that's
just hold it up against the
similar
door.
to your car keys.
Oh,
Yeah, some
Okay.
of them are fobs.
So,
some of them are
the fob, and it comes to two doors, so it would be front and back. And then you can actually disable it from my computer, or I can disable it from my phone. I can also set it up that if I don't want anybody in the building on Saturday and Sunday, I can disable everybody's.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, if it becomes an
Yeah.
issue, but, I mean, we have to start somewhere. I just think there's just, the door went unlocked for a week and no one knew it. You know, they came in and started to call the police, because we thought the door was locking, but it got stuck halfway and it didn't lock. So, we'll get quotes together for that. I'm not saying that that one person's it. But the other thing is Chief Moore is looking at doing something as well, so I was hoping that we could get a couple of different quotes. Because every time something
yeah,
happens
everything's the
there.
same over there. What they have is what we have out front here now.
Well,
No, they went to
they have
cards.
a keypad by the door
Right,
going into the.
but it's the same what we had.
Fire has,
It's
fire
the
has the
same
same thing,
thing.
fire has the
It's
same
the
thing.
same
Same
Yeah.
lock on the back door.
And
yeah.
the gentleman that I found to work on them said they're all as old as the building, because that was the first set that they put in,
This,
ED side. This one here, that's the second one we've worn out.
right, but, I guess, but the fire side has the same
The same
keypad
Oh, back,
at
the back door.
at the back door and at South Ware.
Yeah.
We've
They're
only
all
had,
the same.
we've only had to put batteries in them.
I
Yeah.
tried it, I thought that was the easiest.
No, I'm saying, but all we've had to do on those is put batteries in them.
Yeah, well,
But you don't have probably the amount of people that in and out, do you?
No, we don't, I'll agree with that,
Because you've got
but,
all the committee, I mean, the chairperson of the committees have them, anytime anybody comes in here, the cleaning people have them,
Who knows who else has them?
well, and that's part of it. When you get in here, when you get in here, every door is locked.
Yeah.
So they can take the mail, I
Unless
guess.
somebody has a
Right.
key that you don't know.
Right. But no, typically every door's, every room is locked, so.
I guess I'm not really in favor of spending $5,000 on a fob system.
I know, the thing is what price do you, again, what price
And
do you
I
put on
could look at the
security?
card system, I could look at, I don't wanna be.
Well, the fob and the card system basically work the same. It's a reader that's a flat reader on the outside. You hit it with, you wave the fob next to it, or you get the card. It looks like, looks like a
Mm-hmm. Credit
blank
card.
credit
Yep.
card, but it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the thing with that is that it gives you a readout as to
Yeah.
who's got that card, who was in the building, what times, in and
Well,
out.
in theory, that program from this one could have done the same
Same
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
That-
Right.
I mean, it's obviously a pain to plug into it,
Yeah,
but
but
that
I'm
has the
saying
same
at that time,
accountability.
this is automatic. It goes right to somebody's computer, goes,
So
it could go
part
to
of
hers.
that,
and it-
part of that cost though is to run the wires to the server room,
Yeah.
which is where the power is, and to be able to be able to set the keys, but it came with, I don't know, 50 fobs, and it came with a whole bunch of other things.
Well, you
And that
need
included the
probably.
rewiring of both doors to the server room, which isn't an easy task either, because you gotta find once you go down into the room, you can run through, but, and same thing over there, once you get down, you can run to the server room, but,
Getting down there is.
yeah. And then the other thing is, Monday, you're gonna see a bill next week that you're not gonna be happy with, but Monday, Roto-Rooter came for this building again. What's happened is the old pipe in this building has developed scales. And what happens is I don't know why people opt to use hand towels to go to the bathroom, but they dug out some hand towels. And then what they did is they brushed, and all the scale was catching the paper. So what it did is it made a big blub, and then every time it flushed here, it came up in that one and over in that one. So it was all over the floor. It was a mess.
Cast iron pipe.
It is. It's
It's
cast iron
cancerous.
pipe till you get to the floor, till you get outside, and then it's PVC, he said.
It's a cancer
But it's,
or
so
something
what they
call
did
it.
is they ran through and descaled the pipes.
They'll be all right for a year or two.
It should be good for a while, but this is the second time, because you guys seen them, but we called Granite State, and they don't have the equipment to do it, so they farm it out to
So how much is
Roto-Rooter.
it to do this?
We spent $1,000 the first time, we spent $2,000 or $2,200 this time,
Wow.
because they spent some time here. But I don't understand,
Why
I
they
really
using
don't.
paper
Why would anybody
towels?
use paper
Well,
towels?
and take the paper towels out of the bathroom, you can use your pants to wipe your hands off.
Yeah.
You know, I don't
I don't
understand it.
understand why people are doing that.
Go back to the old days, we had the
towel.
cloth towel that went around on the roller.
No,
and
you
just
can
pulled it
also look at you can look at the electric dryers, there's gotta be
The
a different
electric
way. You know, it just is too bad, I
Take
just,
paper towels and throw it, I mean.
It's costing taxpayers a lot of money for somebody
Yeah.
being foolish.
right. And we let the public use the bathroom, so I can't say who it is.
Yeah, I know.
Somebody comes in and uses it and does it, and
Yeah,
you don't notice
Is
it for
it
a
time to
week.
put in air dryers?
Put a pedal
The hand
blower
dryer,
in.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering, if I could price the
yeah,
dryers.
I
A lot
would
of
price,
them
Might be cheaper.
A lot of them just mount them on the
Yeah.
wall and run the cord down, plug it in the wall. 'cause some of
yeah,
them
I would
are
say,
bad.
I would say air dryer, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like you said, yeah, they're 110 units and they're done.
You're done. You don't,
Yeah.
the hardest part is gonna be mounting them on the wall. If there's a
Right.
right near a receptacle, and there's a
Yeah,
receptacle.
right
on
over
the wall.
receptacle, yeah.
Plug
You
it
just
in.
get those anywhere? I mean, you just price
I
them
think,
anywhere?
yeah, I think Granger or Uline or somebody,
Yeah, one of those.
probably.
FW Web, Granite Group.
Yeah, your plumbing supply places would have them,
Places would have them.
yeah,
Well, just, I mean, how many times are we gonna do this? This is crazy.
right.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
It's a
and
lot
that,
of money. I
and,
mean.
and there's this,
And they don't-
and I can tell you from personal knowledge, involved with doing some of that, is that the replacing those pipes is the older cast iron. It starts to get that, and they call it like a cancerous
Well, ours
thing,
are
and
buried
it
in the
gets all, it's
floor.
orange.
I know, yeah.
It goes right through and it starts narrowing it down as
But they're
time
buried in
goes.
the cement floor.
Yeah, and the only way to do it
Jackhammer it out.
is you have to jackhammer it out and run a new one through.
Well, we'll leave it be.
Well, see about the blower. I mean, I think that's kind of a, the thing to do. And I mean, that'll eliminate you having to buy all the paper.
Paper.
I'd say more
So
of the
it
cancerous
probably
stuff
after
is
a
where
year
it
it'll
goes out
wash
of the
up.
building.
Yeah.
Wash,
Probably coming
cancel
from
out anyway.
PVC.
All right, so we'll do that. We'll move on to the next one. The, presentation, Jack, CIP finished on the 8th. I worked with Jack on Wednesday for the CIP presentation, because he's going to the planning board on the 24th. Then he's coming to us on the 28th. And then he's going to finance on 11/6. And then that would be done. The property tax deed auction, as you know, is 16th. That service went without a hitch.
Really?
Yep.
So far.
Tax rate setting, I think, everybody got a check, all the towns got a check from the, as a result of the budget passing. So I don't know what the scramble is, but it just seems like it's messed up all the revenue for everybody, which is why DRA is not setting the tax rates right now. Because we get a check
Do
for.
we have any idea where?
We get a check for 113,000 for us. He divided it up amongst, all the towns.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if that's put a snag into it, because people want to consider it revenue and then use it to offset. So they're not going to get back to Beth until sometime next week. Then they'll review all the revenues, so that's why we're looking at the 28th. The budget schedule, I think I had them there last time. So on top of Jack Dearborn on the 28th, you've got default and revenues. 11/4, you've got police and library. 11/11's a holiday, so then you got 18th is fire and 25, and then 12/2 is the rest. The radio communication, Sean Goodwin, I told you when he was here, we plotted out the map as far as where the voter sites were. And then he's now plotted those and the cell towers on a new map. I don't have any information as to if it's done anything, because he was gonna go to Goffstown.
It was gonna be a couple weeks anyways, wasn't
It
it?
was gonna be a
Yeah.
couple weeks,
Now
so
Sean is through the state?
Sean's through the, I think it's E911 or,
Emergency
Yeah, it's something.
communications, they took like
He's a
part of
coordinator.
The
911.
EOC?
It's over near the IPOC. It's over as you go down
Yeah,
to
yeah.
the smoke on the right. It's,
Yeah,
they
right.
took
He's,
state police radio and
yeah.
some of that, put it all over in that
because I was
section.
led to him through Lakes Region,
Right.
as the guy to talk to. And
Okay.
him and Art Duquette really
Yeah.
did a nice job with
Durrett.
it here.
Not the
Durrett.
yeah.
Is there any way that you could ask Sean if there is grants available for some of this stuff? Where it's emergency equipment?
They did the one, they'll know if it's the grants, because
Right.
they do the grants that we just signed that paperwork on the, what do you call it?
Life?
Remember that came from them on
Yes.
on radio communications?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, for the
Interoperability.
reprogram.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're the ones
Yeah.
that handle all that.
But I'm just
And
thinking,
and I
I'm
talked
just thinking
to,
if there's a potential for grants out there, we ought to go for it. I mean, it's-
and there's grants coming, according to Jim Kowalik, who was one of the one of the supervisors up there. I saw them in Concord, and they said, yeah, they were, told me they were out here, and they said, yeah, they're looking at, there might be some possibilities.
But
Yeah,
I
that's
think that
fine.
was a great lead, and the reason I say that is because I didn't realize when you dial your cell phone 911, it goes to them.
Yes.
100.
Mhm.
So they weren't aware.
They all
that-
do.
But they weren't aware that we were having,
Problems?
some issues. So it was kind of a nice,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good thing, but,
Yeah. Sounds like they wanna work
yeah,
with
they
us,
did a
too.
lot of riding around with, Bob Richards, because
Good.
Bob Richards is familiar with it. They did the voter sites, they had some tested equipment with them.
Okay.
So,
Good.
I knew they still had to go to Goffstown and see
Yeah.
what they use and how it transmits to put it all together.
Okay.
So. And then I'm leaving at 4 something in the morning to go to Nashville.
Just to go back onto the government buildings,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, and I guess I didn't pay attention, but I saw Tom, and I don't know if it was Rober's sign out, was it last week, one day, or the week
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
before?
Benji would have been with him.
Benji wasn't there when I went by, he, doesn't mean he wasn't
Yeah,
there.
then what they did is, there was
You're telling me now.
concern about the, where it's gonna go, cause I think that's built up a little bit.
Well, they have like a flower bed that's raised, and
Right.
one leg's, the bank and drops,
Right.
the other one's pretty level near the edge, but the other one's on the.
Right, so they were concerned because the post, I think, is this big now.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a little bit bigger.
yeah, 7
It's gonna be
inches.
7 inch.
7 by 7.
So what they did is they wanted to make sure, and Benji was, Tom had connected with Benji as well to go, because they wanna make sure it doesn't totally ruin what's there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because by the
'cause
time you start digging,
It may.
Well,
Well,
they
yeah,
don't know,
the
they're probably gonna have to
Appleton,
rip part of it up, they do
Yeah.
it on one side, but.
well, and that was why they wanted to see Benji, because Benji's, the DPW is gonna dig the holes. for
The old
granite.
one's out.
Take the old one out and put the granite in for them. The guy's gonna do it, all they have to do is dig the holes. But that's why they were there, because the sign's being built, but he wanted to see what he was up
No, I
against
didn't know
too.
if he had a further, I knew that you said that, but I didn't know if
Yeah,
they.
they don't want to be liable, because if they mess that up, the company that's
Right.
putting the thing in, they want us to do it. And then if we screw it up, we own it.
Yeah, so that's why they included Benji in it, because somebody's gonna dig it.
Mhm.
So that's why they were standing out there, was to just meet. Benji should have joined them, but that
No,
was the
he
plan.
could have, I was going by and all of a sudden I looked up
Yeah.
and there was
No,
Tom
that was the
standing there,
plan.
so.
There was Tom and,
And I didn't see, and there was
The
somebody
gentleman
other, some
back
other gentleman, I didn't, Benji wasn't there yet, but I didn't. I was en route from point A to point B.
that's all I have.
Did we make contact with our exiting
That's what I was just gonna ask about.
highway
the-
mechanic about an exiting
I
vehicle?
didn't, but I was planning on him the 28th anyway.
No,
I've already got his planned.
okay.
But-
We just make contact with him.
Yep. Yeah, I have his cell phone. Because you'll have two non-publics, there's been a request for a non-public too, on top of,
Okay.
so,
That's it?
that's it I got.
Correspondence, other business?
Had the same correspondence that I think a lot of you had was Dave Erickson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I did speak with him.
Yeah. I mean, I talked for a while with him on the phone, but
His concern was the knotweed spraying.
Yes.
In the knotweed spraying, the chemicals that are used are similar to Roundup. It's Roundup in another name.
Yeah.
And so if you watch all and do some Google on it, there's potential, was it non-Hodgkin's lymphoma?
But it's mostly
Right.
if you use, it's.
Right,
you're
but if
direct
you,
contact with it.
but if you inhale it or whatever,
Yeah.
there's that thing. But he had asked that maybe put something on in the spring to post it and notify people so that
That was occurring.
if we're gonna go around and do it again, they don't need to be
Keep people away.
home, and they'll be on way.
shut their windows and go away for an
yeah.
hour.
So I told him I would try to connect with the next time around and do it. But he did, I think we tried we tried Benji,
That's what I
you.
told him the same
Yeah.
thing. I said, I guess, we can do that. We can put something.
The other thing to
post it.
do is before, also is to go to the contractor we've hired and have him supply us with what he has to, is a copy of the MSDS.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
So,
okay. He had to get approved for the state.
yeah, but I mean, and the state
Yeah,
the
the
state goes
state
in that and
gets
they've
it
got it
too.
on record. So we get a copy of the MSDS and put it on file.
On file, yeah.
And they have to,
Yep.
they're supposed to supply that to us.
No, he
if we
understood,
request
but
it,
I
so.
mean, it was just, he was concerned.
Well, and there's been a lot on the TV. It's on the TV
I know
every other day here.
Every commercial.
I mean,
Yeah,
if it's
it's
not
on
that, it's,
constantly.
have you got hernia mesh, it's, or are you using Johnson & Johnson talcum
Talcum
powder,
powder.
yeah,
That's
I
right.
mean,
Yeah,
so a lot of it's hype too,
Yeah.
so I mean, you have to understand it's
Yeah, I mean, I know it's an issue.
$1 million suit and they got 1 million people doing it, so you get $1 a piece, I mean, when you're done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want
And I
to
understand their concern, but, and I think we gotta be.
Mr., the one that you
Yep.
and I got. So we got Ricky and I got another one, from the gentleman on Blake Road?
Blake Road.
Regarding, the situation with the neighbor in the junkyard. So we started down a path, by trying to work with him, and then the phone became disconnected, and then a site visit warranted knocking on the door with a vehicle there, and nobody came to the door. So we became not so friendly anymore. So we've pursued, obviously, a legal remedy, and he's been served papers. I don't know what the papers said, but he's been served some sort of,
He's gonna make an appearance.
he's gotta make an appearance, because we tried.
Mm-hmm.
And rightfully so, it takes a long time, but we started down a path that we thought was gonna work with him. It was receptive, and he was coming in, and then it turned the other way.
He started ignoring.
And we changed phone numbers, the phone number disconnected,
Yeah.
nobody's answering anymore, and, the worst thing we've explained to people to do is not communicate with us. It's too bad, but it takes time. So, he was served papers to appear, I don't know what the date is, but,
I don't know, Kelly didn't have a date yet, but he gets served, papers,
Yeah.
but the thing I know, I spoke about that same thing, because it's, also with the planning board, but they, DES is back involved in part of it again.
that's gonna take a while.
And he's also been before the court before, and he's lived up to part of it, then he just drops out and never gets.
Then we acquire more.
And they don't follow through, and we don't follow through, so I told her, it's at this time, yeah, we're gonna follow through, and that means.
We have to, yeah.
They got, and it has to
Not
be
fair
explained
to-
that the judge turns around, that, listen, he's had a chance, and it's like,
Yeah.
we can't keep doing this.
No, we can't,
So I haven't been out there, but I guess from
No,
what I've been
it's-
told, it's a regular junkyard.
pretty much.
And
Oh,
then
yeah.
some. I went out in the wintertime, and it was a junkyard. Go out now, and it looks like
How many
a.
permits do we have,
I don't even
junkyard
know how
permits?
his
Do we have
neighbor
in
gets
town
it.
where?
Two.
Two of those. One is Dave Willis.
Dave Willis.
Weare Body and
Weare
Frame.
Body and Frame.
Where's, over on
77.
Yep, Smith.
So what
Yeah,
about all
Watson.
these other places, there's a
Like-
place up on, going up toward Hennecker, on the left there's a bunch of junk cars. in
Oh,
there.
that's,
And then there's,
at,
Yep, we all know where it
You
is.
know where it is.
yeah, right there.
Yeah, I don't,
That's what
yeah, I
you
don't
call
wanna,
it.
yeah.
On the
I know
left,
where it
it's
is.
headed up,
Yep.
Yep.
And there's a couple other places. Where was
Mm-hmm.
it? I saw a bunch.
I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and more is gonna follow, but we've got our hands full of what we got.
Yeah.
You know, it's been,
I'll pick away, I guess, at it.
right, it's been going
Yeah.
on so long for so many years, it's, you can't, you know, big ship turns slow.
Refresh my memory a little bit. That property on River Road is a property on River Road. It's a trailer. The chimney fell down.
We own it.
We own it. There's a car parked in the yard there.
It's been parked there for a
I
year.
know. Do we own that car too?
It's got license plates on it.
Yep.
Can't
Is
tell
somebody
you.
living in the trailer?
No.
Oh.
No, you've
I
met,
did-
you've met them.
Yeah, I know. And I said, geez, I thought they weren't in there. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, I thought the car was gone. Now all of a sudden, the car's appeared again.
No,
So
the car's
The
always
car's
been there.
been
That's
there.
Silver's
it's a
been there.
300
Chrysler.
Chrysler,
Yeah.
Chrysler 300. I thought it was gone, and now
No,
it
it's been
looks like.
sitting
Part
there.
of the
parked.
property, it does belong to us, even, I believe,
Well,
even,
no, not unless we take the.
If it's
time.
registered,
I'd say
if
we
it's
would
actively
take it.
registered, it probably doesn't, but
well,
It's got
yeah.
number plates
if
on
it
it.
doesn't,
I don't
then
know.
maybe not, yeah.
Even
Maybe
then,
different.
taking a car like that is,
Junk.
there's a lot of paperwork title. You gotta go through that title
Yeah,
bureau.
title bureau and everything,
And I
so.
don't know if it's worth it. Might be worth it where we own the property, we have the right to tow it.
Right, tow it off the
And
property, yeah.
Give the, whoever tows it, give them the information, and they can,
They
then
can,
they
they
can
can
deal with
run
it.
with it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth playing with.
It's not worth us playing with it.
Other than that, I have nothing. Anybody else have anything?
No, I think that was
You
everything.
do?
Yeah,
Oh, jeez, eh?
started this a few months ago with the Conservation Committee. What's up with the RFP for the town forester?
Okay.
I mean, we can, we also
Contact
gonna have a
Andy.
joint meeting.
Yeah, we were supposed to have a joint
I don't think
meeting.
you guys have even talked about it, because you guys haven't had a full group.
No, we haven't had,
Yeah.
we did just last week, but there's been several times they've canceled because they haven't had a full group. Yeah.
I mean, we can schedule a meeting with them because it's budget season, but, at the same time, they did throw an RFP our way.
Mm.
But you guys were looking at it, and I was waiting, I think it's finalized from you, that it would come to us.
Mhm.
And I don't think you guys have had a quorum enough to do it.
To finalize
Because you
it.
missed June, July, and August, I mean.
Yeah.
I know you met in September and you met in October, but I don't think you've had a full group either time.
No, we
had
haven't,
just
just
enough to
barely
meet.
enough to have the meeting, yeah.
So, I can send it out to Andy and see where they are with it.
Yeah, if you could.
Yeah.
Anything else?
When is Tom actually leaving, or has he
He's
left?
left.
You
Last
left
Friday, wasn't it?
You left Friday.
Okay, so we've posted the job, is that,
Yep.
It's already
Yeah, it's
posted.
been
It's
posted,
been
yeah.
posted. It was posted the day after he left.
Gave his
He gave his notice, I mean.
okay.
Yeah, and it made the Facebook pages. Yep. So,
We've actually got 3 jobs open
Until I
right
don't
now.
do Facebook.
Was it?
No, we've got, if you look at the front, well, no, the
the
front page.
admin secretary.
The admin secretary's
Highway.
there, Park and Rec is there,
Oh,
and
that's right.
Highway.
Yeah, and they've all made the Facebook pages. I've seen them all, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't take long, because I
No.
know Parks and Rec has their own Facebook page, so they
Yep.
put theirs up.
No, and it's good to see them cycled like that, too.
And I think Mike's newsletter this week had them all in it too.
Mhm.
Did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he was dedicating it to that.
One thing, parting piece. I don't know if you guys saw or not, but our ACO made Boston News.
Did.
Made Boston Channel News. She was on it sounded like a barking dog call complaint, and she ended up finding 2 dogs in a swimming pool that couldn't get out. So she jumped the fence and got in there and got them out, and they got pictures of her, I think, on the security camera of getting them out. So, but yep.
Yeah,
So,
they'd have probably died
yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, job well done.
Yep.
So, yep.
Wow.
Anything else?
Good thing.
No.
Okay. Move to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.